Question 1. She was the only student in the class. Had read the entire book. Question 2. I've been waiting for hour and a half. This is longest wait I've ever had. Question 3. He wanted to buy new laptop, but he didn't have money. Question 4. If she harder last semester, the entrance exam. Question 5. Unless your registration by Friday, you not be allowed to sit the exam. Question 6. I wish I to the concert with you last night. It sounds like it was amazing. Question 7. The new library. By the end of next year, according to city officials. Question 8. Scientists believe the ancient city by a massive earthquake around 700 AD. Question 9. I have never visited Mongolia, she said. She said that Mongolia. Question 10. The teacher asked the students their phones away during the examination. Question 11. By the time the ambulance arrived, the patient had already consciousness. Question 12. This novel for 3 weeks, and I'm only halfway through it. Question 13. When I was a child, my grandmother. Stories every night before bed. Question 14. Nobody called while I was out. Question 15. Let's take a short break before the next session. Question 16. You have told me you were going to be late. I was worried sick. Question 17. The lights are off and the car is gone. They have left already. Question 18. I really don't mind. Late if it means the project will be finished properly. Question 19. She finally managed a scholarship to study abroad after 3 attempts. Question 20. The city she grew up in has changed beyond recognition over the past decade. Question 21. The scientists' findings were, they completely changed the way researchers understood the disease. Question 22. After hours of debate, the committee finally reached A on the new policy. Question 23. The documentary. The struggles of families living below the poverty line. Question 24. He made a effort to stay calm during the argument, though he was clearly upset. Question 25. The new regulation will companies to disclose their environmental impact annually. Question 26. After months of poor sales, the company had to several of its international branches. Question 27. The professor told students to the report before submitting it for final grading. Question 28. The negotiations almost broke down, but both sides managed to their differences. Question 29. The success of the project depended entirely the team's ability to communicate effectively. Question 30. Doctors are concerned about the rate of obesity among teenagers in urban areas. Question 31. The documentary provided a account of the events leading up to the disaster. Question 32. It took great to keep practicing every day without seeing immediate results. Question 33. The speaker's argument was so that even his opponents found it difficult to disagree. Question 34. Many students find it difficult to their part-time jobs with their academic responsibilities. Question 35. The government announced plans to the healthcare system with an additional $2 billion. Passage A. The science of sleep. For centuries, sleep was considered a passive state, a time when the body simply shut down and rested. Modern neuroscience has completely overturned this assumption. During sleep, particularly during the deep stages, the brain is extraordinarily active. It consolidates memories formed during the day, processes emotional experiences, and clears out toxic proteins that accumulate during waking hours. Research conducted at the University of Rochester revealed that the brain has a dedicated cleaning system called the glymphatic system, which becomes 10 times more active during sleep. This system flushes cerebrospinal fluid through the brain, removing waste products including beta amyloid, a protein associated with Alzheimer's disease. Scientists now believe that chronic sleep deprivation may be a significant contributing factor to the development of neurodegenerative diseases. Beyond the physical benefits, adequate sleep profoundly affects cognitive performance. Students who sleep fewer than 6 hours before an exam consistently perform worse than those who sleep 7 to 9 hours, regardless of total study time. This suggests that studying until the early hours of the morning, a common practice among exam candidates, may be counterproductive. The brain needs sleep not merely to rest, but to learn. Question 36. According to the passage, modern neuroscience has shown that during sleep, the brain Question 37. The word consolidates in paragraph 1 most closely means Question 38. The glymphatic system described in the passage is primarily responsible for Question 39. What does the passage suggest about students who study until very late before an exam? Question 40. Which statement best expresses the main idea of the passage? Passage B. Urban farming growing up. As cities expand and agricultural land diminishes, a growing number of urban planners and entrepreneurs are looking skyward for solutions. Vertical farming, the practice of growing crops in stacked layers inside controlled indoor environments, has moved from a futuristic concept to a practical reality in cities from Tokyo to New York. Proponents argue that vertical farms offer significant advantages over conventional agriculture. They use up to 95% less water through recirculation systems, require no pesticides due to the controlled environment, and can produce harvests year-round regardless of weather conditions. A single vertical farm occupying one city block can reportedly match the output of many hectares of traditional farmland. Critics, however, point to the enormous energy costs involved. Vertical farms rely entirely on artificial lighting, which currently makes them economically viable only for high-value crops such as leafy greens and herbs. Scaling the technology to produce staple crops like wheat or rice remains, for now, economically unfeasible. Nevertheless, as renewable energy costs continue to fall, many experts predict that vertical farming will play an increasingly important role in global food security. Question 41. According to the passage, which of the following is an advantage of vertical farming? Question 42. The word viable in paragraph 3 most closely means Question 43. Critics of vertical farming are mainly concerned about Question 44. The passage implies that vertical farming's expansion is most likely to be influenced by Question 45. Which of the following best describes the author's attitude toward vertical farming?